Okay, Dr. Walton, you say there is no new science in the Bible. How could that be? We've been looking for new science for years and coming up with all sorts of odd things. Why do you say there's no new science?
Well, it's a matter of having looked through everything in the Old Testament to see how it matches up to what people believed in the ancient world.
Okay.
And I just find that there's nothing there that wouldn't have made perfect sense
So
to them.
Isaiah 40:22, it says the circle of the earth. It tells us the earth is round ahead of time, before anyone else knew.
Yes, but indeed that Hebrew word does not refer to a sphere, but to a disk. And everyone in the ancient world believed the earth was a disk, and therefore round and had a circle.
So it was partly right. It's partial credit.
Partial credit.
Okay. Talk about natural law and the layer cake thing and supernatural and God working and then natural and just processes. That's how we look at it, with natural processes and all these laws of the universe. How did the Israelites look at it?
We talk about that, I use that layer cake model, which might help us to make some sense of our world and the way that we think. But for Israel, they wouldn't have had any such idea. In the ancient world, every cause was personal. That is, either God or people are involved, and they wouldn't have seen any cause originating in some other way. And so for them, they wouldn't have had to try to explain natural laws and natural cause and effect. Everything was what God was doing.
So who's right and who's wrong? Were the Israelites right? Is God doing everything? Or are we right and he only does certain special things on holidays?
They're both helpful ways to think. We believe as Christians that God is involved in everything that happens. And that's why we've got that top layer of the cake in our picture. God's involved with all of it. Yet we still recognize that science, in order to be done, needs to think in terms of natural laws and natural cause and effect, and that's a perfectly legitimate way for us to try to understand the world around us.
Okay. So we think God is in charge of everything, but on a day-to-day basis, we don't always believe it.
Well, I think we have trouble integrating our worldview as well. I mean, we watch the weather report and we hear about the high pressure systems and low pressure systems and all of this, and we readily acknowledge that. We haven't gone picketing the weather stations and asking them to put God back in the weather report.
But then we change the channel to the televangelist who tells us which storm is God's judgment on which demographic
And
group.
that becomes a problem too, because then we're taking authority on ourselves to understand what it is that God is doing.
Right. What about scientific claims about miracles, about the parting of the Red Sea? How does that affect scientific claims, these historical claims from the Bible?
Certainly the Bible makes historical claims, and they're important for us to recognize as that. But when we're talking about the claims scientific claims in the Bible, we're talking about, does the Bible give us a way of understanding how the world regularly works? How the mechanics and operations of the world go? Is that what the Bible is doing? And I would say that no, it is not. Certainly some of the events like the parting of the Red Sea or the incarnation or the resurrection, those are historical events that have scientific implications. But we don't try to explore those scientifically, at least it might not get us very far. But the Bible doesn't really intend to give us information about how the world works on a regular basis.
Okay. Fascinating. But if the Bible is true, we believe the Bible is true, wouldn't it have real scientific knowledge hidden inside it? Even if the original audience wouldn't understand it, wouldn't God code in science for us to discover later on?
Well, God can do anything that he wants, but the fact is, number one, what's his purpose? His purpose is revealing, not concealing. He's revealing himself. Now, it's true that there are some prophecies where the fulfillment is not known and that's to unfold. But that's a different matter altogether. God is in the process of revealing, and we need to read the text in that light. Secondly, it's the idea of how do we attach authority to things that we read into the text. If it's all our creative imagination that sees these things, then how do we attach authority to that? We're interested in going to the Bible to find out what the authoritative message is.
So when we find stuff in there that no one has ever known about before, we are making ourselves the authority.
If it wasn't something that the author intended to give, that's exactly right.
Which
Sometimes
sounds a little bit dangerous.
it is.